Welcome. I see you are already parked. I trust you will remain parked for the duration of this interview. I do apologize for the location, but my normal office would not be suitable due to your size, make, and model, seeing as you, of course, are a vehicle. Sorry for the environment and ambient sound that you may hear, though I am sure you are, of course, used to it, being on the road as often as you are. I am unable to perform this interview in my office due to the circumstances that you would not fit or be able to navigate to the far ends of the building where my office is located. In the future, we can try to perform a remote interview of sorts, but I thought it would be better to see you face to fender. This is the first interview. There will be more, most likely, if you pass our criteria. This interview is being recorded, and I will be typing extensive notes regarding this interview, and your answers, do not be alarmed. It does not mean that you are doing poorly, or if I am typing extensive or even excessive notes. Now, to begin, how did you hear about the position? I see. So a satellite radio and fully integrated GPS network allowed you to decrypt a hidden message and intercept it. What do you know about the company? I see. So you are aware of what we actually do here. Then why did you apply for this position, knowing that this position would normally require different characteristics and qualities than you possess? Interesting. So knowing that, then, why do you want to work for this company? Ulterior motives. Interesting. I will make a note of that. And we will get back to that later after a few more critical or pressing questions. Are you comfortable with travel? No, this is a legitimate question. It is not a joke. We try very strongly here to not joke. Many of our agents have limited or no sense of humor as of yet. Noted. Interesting. That is very good. I see you are looking forward to fully flexing all of your mobility abilities. Well, we do ask this question because, for all we know, you might actually be looking for a desk job, for all I am aware. I have interviewed a wide variety of unusual beings, primarily cryptids, but I'm not familiar on the wants and desires of sentient, for lack of better politically correct word, vehicles or objects. I wanted to make sure that I understood that you are looking for a position that will provide you with more personal drive and that you weren't looking for a more sedentary parked position. Before we go any further, I think I have to address the horsepower in the room. What kind of sentient vehicle are you? No, I don't mean what kind of vehicle, plane, train, or automobile. I mean what kind of level of sentience do you possess, and if you plan to commit intended or premeditated vehicular murder. Yes, from the looks of you, you seem to be a Hyundai. That's not what I meant. Yes, I am aware that you are a talking I can hear that, obviously, but there are a wide variety of sentient vehicles that are depicted in the media, like the popular Pixar movie Cars and the subsequent sequels thereof. There is the Transformers franchise that have robots that are disguised as vehicles. There's the comic Turbo Teen. Now, in that case, it's a teenager that turns into a car and vice versa. There's the Thomas the Tank Engine, lives in a whole world of talking automobiles with faces on them. Clearly not what you are. All are just a limited few of many franchises that have talking vehicles as cars that as a normal part of their universe. They're not abnormal or interesting or different. That's just what that universe has, is talking vehicles. And then you have other media that depicts unusual vehicles, such as the cat bus, which is a cat that is also a bus. It's more animal than machine at that point. Definitely not what you are. Then, of course, you have the non-speaking cars that clearly are sentient but have no mouth or way of screaming or vocalizing and expressing its language. Vehicles such as Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Christine, Herbie, the Magic School Bus, the Vampire Motorcycle, Killer Steamroller, the Killer Bulldozer, more commonly known as Killdozer, the car, specifically the car from the movie The Car, or the car that is depicted in The Twilight Zone, just as the car. I will even count the sentient, ridiculous, adaptable of the tire from Rubber. Though that definitely is not a full vehicle, it's just a part of one. Then you have, of course, talking vehicles such as Putt Putt, Speedy, Benny, Sparky, Night Industries 2000. Technically not sentient, just an extremely advanced AI, but based on its behaviors, I will count it anyway. And then you have Hello Governor, which technically talks, though I believe all it says is Hello Governor. Then the list goes on as how media has depicted the concept of a sentient vehicle, most of which being used in some horrible manner or in a possessed state. A living vehicle is genuinely unique or peculiar no matter the personality of the vehicle, and thus is something worth being monitored, if not officially employed or utilized as an asset of our organization. I don't know if you would be employed in the terms or contracts that most of our employees are. However, we definitely want you here and not somewhere else. It would be very beneficial to some of our field agents who lack proper means or abilities to operate vehicles. This could be a win-win situation, which is what we strive for in all of our dealings and negotiations, of course, depending on the pre-mentioned ulterior motives that you brought up. However, I really feel that you are helpful and can be an answer to some of our various transportational problems or situations. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, some of our individuals have special cases or are unable to obtain any permits, licenses, or identification in any manner and are not thus legally permitted or allowed to even properly learn to operate a vehicle. Some of our agents are just not good drivers. Well, then there are some of our individuals that have a limb difference. Those that have had upper or lower limb losses. Those that are, those that are depicted as ill-equipped for the specialized purposes of operating a motorized or unmotorized vehicle. No, we don't use the term handicapped or handicapable. Some of our individuals have even far too many appendages, and some have fewer than the normal human average. We do allow accommodation when hiring, but we prefer to employ agents that have valid licenses, However, not everyone has been given the same status and situation as others. Looking at yourself, as a special case, you are a vehicle that cannot have your own driver license. Having you enter our organization as an agent or otherwise is, of course, an unusual specialized case with various circumstances and amendments and exceptions being made for any dealings with the organization in comparison to other employees or contracted agents or members of this organization, business, bureau. Now back to the question, what kind of vehicle are you? You are not a car. I don't mean to argue, but I beg to differ. The alternative, since you are a four-door talking vehicle that in all ways resemble a car, in fact, one with a Hyundai style and parts. How do you mean that you are not a car? You are more than a car. Well, I greatly apologize. I did not mean to offend you. You are a sentient being, but you are not of any status to call you a human. What would you like to or prefer to be called? You mean you're more than a car because you're in fact a piece of a spaceship. Interesting. Go on. What do you mean that you are a spaceship? So if I understand you correctly, you are stating that you are designed with the purpose of interplanetary travel, but are lacking the requisite pieces and parts, as well as the appropriate and correct fuel source. Have you been to space before? What do you mean? So you feel it. How do you feel it? In your programming. You mean you feel it in your programming that is your destiny to go into outer space, that is your full and designed purpose. Is this just a dream or a desire of yours, or do you actually feel a compelling element in your programming to go to space? Well, I mean, there are different kinds of wants, and then there are needs and compulsions. Is space equivalent to you like going on a vacation? Something that you save up for, invest in, plan for, and then finally get to go on. You always wanted to go there. Or is it more final, more true, sort of what people consider heaven, the end goal, the existence after this? There's such a thing as automobile heaven. Interesting. Then can you be specific in how you intend to achieve this? This is, I'm guessing, the ulterior motive you were talking about. Well, if I understand you correctly, you're saying that you want to join this organization on the terms that we help you get to outer space. That's what I'm understanding, and if that's clear enough for you. No, I'm listening. I'm listening. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And is there a specific way you intend to achieve this? Well, allow me. We could just put you in a space shuttle if this is what you want. No, you do need to go to space yourself by your own means. So you're hoping to get hired so we can retrofit you to go into outer space? No. There are others. So let me understand this. You are a piece of 10 other intelligent, no, sorry, 9 other, 10 altogether, intelligent vehicles that are designed to combine together. And when put together, you will form and become a complete spaceship. How do you combine together? But how do you know this is how it works if you've never done it before? So this isn't up to normal Hyundai code of specifications and can't be addressed with a normal Hyundai dealership, correct? So why would your creator or creators design you that way? Now, that isn't very nice and is a rather derogatory statement to humans that could be misconstrued as harassment if mentioned to a field agent. This organization will not tolerate speciesist or anti-living organism talk like that without serious repercussions and reprimanding. We are trying to be very respectful with how we address you, not as a item or possession. So it is very important that you are also respectful of your passengers, whether they be organic or otherwise. Thank you. So are you aware of who your creator or creators are? So you are not actually manufactured by Hyundai, despite the Hyundai branding that you're not from a dealership, and only some of your parts are actually proprietary to Hyundai, if that is what I'm understanding. Are all of your parts Hyundai parts? If we went to a dealership to get parts, would we be able to use? Are the other 9 vehicles that make the spaceship when formed together, are they also all Hyundai? No. You believe that they are each of different models and makes, not Hyundai. Is this just a belief, or is it part of your programming? What reasoning or rationale do you have for that? I will make note of that. And in that case, do you have a method for tracking down the other 9 vehicles to create the 10 that will automatically form a spaceship when brought together? You have a way to recognize them, but not a way to find them. That's what you want our assistance with, as well as the fuel source, I'm sure. You want us to help you find and track down other 9 vehicles that will make and form this spaceship. And that's what you want our assistance with, as well as the fuel source. We can also supply you with regular maintenance and the best mechanics on Earth. I'm aware that you have specialized parts and mechanisms that aren't Hyundai proprietary pieces or parts, but I'm sure that through normal wear and tear, you will want to be looked at and have regular maintenance performed. It's very important that vehicle maintenance is performed regularly. We will, of course, be communicating with you each step of the way. It would be standard policy and practice. It would be in poor form for us to be negligent in that way, to just let you out in the field without safety inspections and proper maintenance done before you go out into the field. It's the same as having our field agents undergo regular physical training, medical care, observation, and testing. We don't have our agents go out unless they can sustain the various threats and vigorous activity that they are expected to overcome or be subjected to. It would only be fair that we perform proper maintenance, inspections, and evaluations before you enter into any field work. Well, this actually brings me to some difficult questions, such as insurance. Of course, you don't provide yourself vehicle insurance, and in case of accident, we would be supplying vehicle insurance. We do provide life insurance plans for all of our agents. This is a hazardous work environment. It is expected to have injuries, casualties, collisions, and to be all fair to you, would providing vehicle insurance be of any help or benefit to you? We can supply you with the best vehicle insurance plans possible and use those funds to help repair, maintain, and help you gather information of finding your, I don't know how you describe them, siblings? Well, they're parts of you. How do you talk about them? Well, I don't know how I describe my hand if I didn't have my hand. I guess part, appendage. I see. So let me get to some of the more normal questions, if I can. Let me see. Most of these don't exactly apply to you and your circumstances or parameters, but what is your best skills or strengths? That is fast. Also, of course, the smart car features, being Bluetooth capable, is certainly a plus, especially for various applications that we have and necessary bureaucratic policies and parameters that we have to jump through, and monitoring, being able to connect directly to you in various forms, plus connectors and cords, as well as via Bluetooth and satellite connection, as well as your GPS navigation system. All of those are fantastic features, plus many, many cup holders. What is your greatest weakness? I see. If it is beyond normal repair, would you permit us to replacing that? I see. So you have some level of healing, self-repair, and regeneration over time. That is good to know. Do you know how your self-regeneration works? I see. So that is why at first you were reluctant to having regular maintenance, but I believe regular maintenance and some personal self-care. Treat yourself to our established mechanics, and I believe they can truly benefit you in helping maintain that and causing less effort in your personal regeneration of sorts. What is your secret superpower? That is very impressive. Not exactly a transformer, but definitely able to be an all-terrain capable and form changing in various ways. That is extremely beneficial in the field and the work that we do. What do you do in your spare or free time? Excuse me. You watch movies. Well, I am aware that you come with a full entertainment system for the front and the back seats, but yes, I did think that was for the passengers and not. I understand my assumptions were wrong, but once again, I would like you to properly think about the words you're saying, and that is not an appropriate form of language or thing to be saying, and if on the job could be misconstrued as harassment and could get you. It's very anti-human language that will not be supported and could be grounds for termination or disciplinary action. So, back to your personal hobbies. What movies do you watch? Fast and Furious movies, James Bond movies, essentially anything with lots of cars, even if they get into accidents or wrecks. Really? How intriguingly morbid. So what are you passionate about? Finding your other parts and pieces, I get that. Are they all sentient like yourself? So you're saying that most of them are not well equipped and awakened. They're sleeping for the most part. What happens if you have 9 of you all together, but not all 10? Really? So some of you can fuse together, but most of you can't fuse together without the center linchpin to hold them in place. Do you know which piece is the center that holds everything together? You are. So the other pieces can work and have special abilities, but they themselves cannot fuse together without you. So what is your preferred learning style? Direct satellite updates and upgrades. What is updating or upgrading your software or hardware? You don't know the origins of your updates. It comes from satellite. Is this similar to the transmission that you intercepted from us? And how quickly do you adapt to new technology? instantly. After the final downloading and processing time, of course. Tell me about a time when you failed and how you handled it. What would be a circumstance or situation that you would not attempt because it would be beyond your machinery or mechanical specifications that you are capable of? Yes, tell me a story. So what is something that you always forget exists? Now, that is something very important for humans and almost any of your passengers. We take safety for all of our agents and equipment and vehicles and contracted agents and contractors, and we're very strict on safety first. Safety is a critical thing. We're trying to save the world. Safety for everyone is important. Now, there's many hazards that come into this, but we want to make sure we're following all legal and appropriate policies and safety measures. We have more safety measures than most organizations and government facilities. With all the safety measures we have, we do want to stress safety for you and all passengers. Don't most vehicles have like warnings and sensors to remind and warn the passengers about that? Almost annoyingly so. Do you think that's something that you should enable if you have human or organic passengers? Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. How do you feel about having passengers? Okay. What is your process of determining if they are a preferred or allowed passenger? Well, can you give me some qualities or personalities that you look for in your passengers? Okay, that is both oddly specific in some cases and very broad for the others. Is there a good system or method for determining this without having them all die in a fiery, burning car crash first? Well, we could set that up and call it a test drive scenario. Would you abide by our terms and set specifications? The test drive duration would be no more than 3 hours or 150 miles for the full round trip. Would that be enough for you to properly calibrate and categorize the passenger as either acceptable or unacceptable for the purposes of being placed on missions with you? All right, we can have our contract team set that up. How do you feel about transporting animals? Interesting. We will put that. I'll make note that it's on a case-by-case basis as well. Now, for the purposes of negotiating with teams and passengers, there are a few terms and specifications that we need to address to make sure that we're being properly politically correct in how we address you and how comfortable you are in being addressed by certain terms. We are a very diverse organization with many human and non-human entities, and similarly we kind of have to go through this process with many of our non-human candidates, especially when we're considering hiring them. Usually this is in a second interview, but I feel that this is very important to have explained and made straightforward now. We want to address you in the best terms possible. Similar to how we do not tolerate anti-human speech, it is very important to us that we address you as you prefer to be called. We would not want to use offensive terms when addressing you or referring to you. And you took offense to being called a car, but did not mind the term vehicle. We'd want to make sure to not use the term car when referring to you, but instead use the term vehicle if that is what you're comfortable with. Well, I see the term car was limiting because you personally feel and identify as a spaceship that is currently limited to groundwater and for short distances the air. But do you have a preferred pronoun? What is it? It is fine for you. The word it is an appropriate pronoun. Understood. I will make note of that. What about designated signifier or a name? Interesting. So you take a liking to the name Hermes. Hermes the Hyundai. Is that your preferred method to being addressed in regards to agents with a name designated Hermes the Hyundai? Would you prefer agents to know that you are sentient and can talk, or would you prefer that to be on a need-to-know basis? We deal with many secrets and classified information, and many agents don't prefer to have their files blanketed to everyone on the team. Thus, we are extending that courtesy to you as well. We want to be fully appropriate and aware and make sure that we only provide agents with the information they need. You being sentient and talking, if you are not comfortable with that being fully disclosed information to your agents and team members, then we can certainly amend that. Redact it. It would be classified information only to agents that need to know that. Well, we can't let them know that you are an advanced AI system similar to Knight Industries 2000 and leave that you are actually a sentient mechanical constructed spaceship as a mystery for you to reveal as required or necessary, but otherwise being confidential and redacted. So instead of you being sentient, we could just have you as a talking AI. Believe me, most of our agents would absolutely believe that. The test to see if a machine is actually sentient and aware is vastly more complicated than just a simple Turing test. Correct. So what would you like? I will make note of that, and we can make that happen. As you wish. What is your favorite oxymoron? Liquid gas. That is fun. What is your experience with weaponry, guns, ammunition, or explosives? As expected. Understood. Wait, what? Really? So almost all of the other pieces and parts, in some way or form, have built-in weaponry? How do you know that? So at this point it would be theoretical, as they are supposed to from the schematics and blueprints, but cannot be confirmed that they do have weaponry. But it would be strongly implied that they should. Would you disobey a direct order What about a direct order that puts you or others in danger? How do you deal with conflicting instructions, procedures, or direct orders? Do you have any branding, recognizable marks, paint, or indents that you would not be willing to have removed? Are you attached to your license plate, or are you comfortable with us removing or changing it as required? You can do that yourself. Really? How quickly can you do that? That is possibly better to us than your top speed. That you might want to consider making that your best strength. Do you have any concerns with any of the following? Arachnophobia, heights, enclosed spaces, bright lights, being in total darkness, strobing light effects, loud noises, any concerns of motion sicknesses? No, of you having motion sickness, not the passengers. I can understand that there would be a concern of your passengers with motion sicknesses being inside of you when I will make note of that. Do you have any concerns being frozen or placed in the cryostasis chamber? Do you have any concerns regarding avian type creatures? Understand, they do have a tendency to aim for vehicles. Do you have any concerns with things that you do not think exist? Do you have any concerns with being lost in time and space? Do you have any issues with space travel? That's understandable. Any issues regarding dimensional disorders of paranormal abnormalities and temporal continuity collisions of an echoing oblivion that distorts cognitive cohesion of events? Good. Do you have a VIN, known normally as a vehicle identification number? So you are able to change that as well. That is especially helpful for us. Do you have any questions for me? I didn't think you would. Thank you for your time. If you don't mind spending a couple of few nights here in our parking garage, please do not harm or disturb the other vehicles that are here, then as well as the organic forms of transportation, people, horses, those other things. Please be here, remain polite, don't disturb people, don't set off any alarms. Then we can get back to you in a couple of days and pull up a legal contract for you to sign via Bluetooth, and we can get you up and running, or up and driving, and ready to hit the road in no time. I do not believe a second interview will actually be necessary after we get past a few certain bureaucratic policies. Thank you for your time. Have a good day, and sleep well.